All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel and SEC Basketball Tuesday. What an evening of action. 5 games tonight. Florida LSU, South Carolina Oklahoma, Arkansas Vanderbilt, Missouri Georgia, Ole Miss Auburn. We'll go through the spreads for those games here in a second. Incredible stuff. I mean, this is the most competitive SEC basketball slate I can honestly remember in several years, Max. I don't know if we've ever had a slate like this where every game -1. 4 games here have a spread of 2.5 points or fewer. But that's where we were. We said it yesterday. We figured that's how it would play out based on the analytics. So we'll, at the end, kind of touch on some additional thoughts on there. But you can find all of our previews for those games already up on the channel. But it's all about bracketology today.
Yep.
We got a new bracketology is out, and we're going to hit on that, Max.
Did you get a chance to look at it? Because I usually don't look at the bracketology and I let you surprise me. But this time I just could not help myself, Blake. I was so eager to get my eyeballs on some updated SEC bracketology. I couldn't wait.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, I looked at the seeds, but I didn't really look at anything other than that. I didn't really look at matchups or anything.
Well,
where anyone else was at.
There's quite a few SEC teams right on the doorstep, knocking, saying, I want to go to Dayton. I want in. Let me in, committee.
Great.
Let me in. I'm right here. So, thought it was interesting.
All right. Hop on in the chat. Leave us your thoughts. Coming off the Indiana Hoosiers, Max winning the national championship in football. The SEC trying to get back on.
I was satisfied with that game.
Yeah, worked out pretty well, I thought. Yeah, so.
What were your thoughts? Good? Bad?
I was too busy zoned in on the Titans coaching search, but I still watched the game. So.
Did you tune in to George Mason, George Washington yesterday?
You did tell me to tune into that, and I did not. No, I did not watch George Mason and George Washington.
Oh, my gosh.
I did not watch
the Patriots are my new UC San Diego. I love this team, Blake. They're scrappy.
The Patriots guy. So
that also might be it.
Anything with the Patriots, you're into. So
I love this George Mason team.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into some bracketology. By the way, I was going to bring this up from Vibe.
From
here.
Vibe.
Yeah, I mean the SEC as of right now, and that's the bracketology this morning has 10 teams in per Lunardi here. I don't think he's that far off. I mean, there's one team we're going to get to that's right on the borderline. But, yeah, I mean, there's still a chance the SEC gets the most teams in. So, I don't feel like we've been that down on the SEC in the past several weeks. Now, I think understandably so, we were a little down on the SEC in non-conference play just because you had a lot of disappointing results. And I think that's where... And we're going to see here in a second. Yes, the SEC may get the most teams in. And I think sometimes that's worth celebrating. But you also want to try to get teams far in the tournament. And as we're going to look at the seed lines here, it's just such a drastic difference than last year. So it's again, there's nothing wrong with getting a lot of teams in. But I think it's just as long as you're understanding, we'll get to it. All right. Let me share this here.
The beautiful production from ESPN and Friends.
I don't know what we're doing with this thing.
It's great stuff over there.
There's a lot going on here. All right, here we go.
Patriots blanket covering the window.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it here. There's the. I don't even know. What is this? What are we calling this?
It's growing on me. I like this little contraption Joe's got going on.
I'm fine with this. This is fine. But what we're about to get to, I'm not so fine with. All right.
Last team in.
Yeah, Texas the last team in. Virginia Tech's the first team out. Arizona the top seed. No surprise there. All right. See, I'm fine with all of it to this point. But once we start getting all these colors here added into the mix, there's just a lot going on. A lot happening on the screen.
It's like learning a new language. You just got to get used to it.
Yeah, well, that's something. Okay. All right. let's start in the West here. And I also don't like that I can't see the full bracket anymore in one
They want to make
swoop
you wait.
here. Yeah, well, that's a little scroll time, page time. It's important
Yep.
to Google. All right, Alabama 5 seed. So Bama's dropped down a seed line. Is that surprising? Why would they have dropped?
Interesting.
I don't know.
Someone must have moved up to a 4.
Well, Alabama's lost or won 2 in a row, and they dropped to a 5 seed. Tennessee's at a 6, playing Miami of Ohio. Just go ahead right now.
Oh boy.
If we were doing the gut bracket today, which we're not, we're not doing a gut bracket, Alan. We've decided we can't do it every single time. Once we get to February, probably doing a gut bracket every
Probably gonna do it. Yeah. February.
Right now, we're not yet. We're not quite there yet.
February's go.
I would probably think about picking Miami of Ohio right there. But I'm not, because we're not doing a gut bracket. All right, that's all I see of the SEC in the West.
Wait a second. So
What do you got?
Alabama's a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Evan Mia's tournament resume has them in that 3 to 5 seed range thing, and Torvik has them projected as a 4 seed. I think 5 might be 1 seed line too low right now.
I guess I'm trying to figure out, and we're going to see in a second, but I guess I'm trying to figure out. Oh, Big Gator EJ's right. We were supposed to do an SEC tournament gut bracket. Okay, well, we'll try to do that sometime this week, but like I'd have to figure out this. Can you imagine me trying to do the tiebreakers right now for this 8-team just absolute chaos at 3 and 2?
I don't even know how we would start.
I don't even know how we would get there. We're going to try, though. We'll try. But we're not going to do it today. All right. So Alabama, yeah, they've won 2 in a row, right? Am I wrong about that? Yeah, they beat Mississippi and Oklahoma.
The floor of their seed line projection right now. I think they could be a 4, 5, maybe I don't know about 3, but a 4 or 5. I think 5's on the low end here.
Well, let's see. So Virginia moved up. So that, so technically, I guess that probably could be your reason for that.
They are playing good basketball.
So there you go. All right. I'm surprised Florida didn't move up. They're still at a 4. Auburn over here, by the way, at a 9. They did move up a seed line.
Okay.
So Auburn's at a 9. Florida at a 4. I don't know. I feel like Florida could have moved up a little bit. But maybe there were no spots available if you really look at it. So Florida, can you imagine playing Florida right now as a 4 seed? If I'm Michigan up there and I'm saying I'm going to play Florida in the Sweet 16, get out of here.
Well, what you said, Virginia is a 4?
Yeah.
Virginia's a 4. And then Nebraska, are they a 4 or 3? Or we just haven't seen them yet? Because that would be 2 teams previously not in the top 4 that have bounced 2 teams out.
Okay. We'll see where they're at. But yeah, Florida to 4, I thought they would move up 1, but they did not. And that's it. That's all we got over here. So Florida and Auburn in this part of the bracket. All right, let's see what else we got going.
What's playing there in the playing in Oklahoma City?
USC, New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, so to the south, Kentucky's moved up 2 seed lines to an 8. Playing Miami. Yeah, so like they've jumped here. Yeah.
It's a nice jump.
Kentucky jumps up. BYU's down to a 4. I don't guess that would impact anything.
They just lost at Texas Tech. I don't change my opinion too much on BYU, but yeah, I guess move them down a spot.
A&M's a 10. Still. So Nebraska's a 2.
Nebraska's a 2.
Yep.
All right, so they're
had them as a
Nebraska.
2 for, a couple weeks.
Nebraska, and then Virginia is definitely that's 2 spots there at the top that are taking up space that weren't there a few weeks ago.
Georgia over here in the East is up to an 8. Arkansas still in San Diego stays at a 5. Vanderbilt stays at a 3. I was curious if Vanderbilt would move down, but remember, losing at Texas, yes, like losing by 16 didn't help them, but losing by 4 at home to Florida doesn't really hurt you. So the fact that they stay there, I almost thought Vanderbilt and Florida may swap spots.
Yeah.
But
I think they eventually will.
yeah, I think eventually it's going to happen. It probably just one game wasn't enough to correct the difference still at that point. But I don't know. I still think Florida should be higher. Um, but it is what it is. All right, so that's it. So that's your group right there. I haven't been looking at the chat, so you guys can weigh in on anything here, Max, before we get to the rest of it. But um, let's see on the bubble. Auburn A&M last
This
four
is where
buys.
this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, last four in. Texas last team in. And then you've got still a lot of work to do for Missouri and LSU. So, yeah.
So right now the league has 10 teams in this projection, right?
Mm-hmm.
With 3 teams being in the last 8 into the tournament. And then 2 more teams in the first 8 left out. So we had the SEC has 5 teams in the 16-team group projection of 8 teams on either side of the bubble. There's 5 SEC teams in that 16-team group right now, based on this projection. That is insane.
Yeah, no, my guess is at most 3 of those make it. Because I just think you're going to, games against each other are going to factor in. And I think at most 3 of those 5 make it. I'm not saying it's necessarily even going to be those 5 teams, but I think that's probably the number you're looking at. I think, look, and we'll go to the 10's what it's at now. I think that is the absolute highest possibility. But
You're not buying it on my 11 bid?
I just don't. I just think, again, eventually, like, teams have to beat each other. And I just don't know if that's going to necessarily help. But the difference also can be, someone brought this up earlier, like, let's say the top of the Big Ten just keeps destroying the bottom of the Big Ten. Let's see the top of the ACC destroys the bottom of the ACC. Same thing with the Big 12 or something. Well, then, then you're able to close the gap by just having teams going back and forth in the middle of the SEC, right? You're keeping all those teams in it because maybe they still have a higher profile than the ones that are getting beat that are just driving, the gap even wider in these other conferences. So you got to put 68 teams got to make the tournament. So, I think, again, for me, though, 10 is probably the highest number. But, I mean, listen, Ole Miss is not even in the discussion here. And they're one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Who else am I thinking of? That's probably the only team right now.
The 4 that are, like, way on the outside looking in are Mississippi State, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. Yeah. Everyone else in the league is represented on this graphic, right?
Yeah. So I think Ole Miss is the one. Look, Missouri wins tonight against Georgia. They're probably moving into the first 4 out. I mean, LSU beats Florida. LSU's probably last 4 in. So there's ways to do this. But I still would probably.
South Carolina's net is 93rd. So they're and Mississippi State's is 95th. Those 2 I think have a much lower chance than Ole Miss or Oklahoma to jump in off of those teams that weren't mentioned in the graphic here. I'll pull up real quick the tourney cast from Torvik.
Yeah.
Just so you can see, because those updated numbers, it's going to be a lot of small numbers. I'll try to see if I can resize it here. Oh wow, it pulls up pretty big there. I guess you can read that pretty well. Here is it's based on 10,000 simulations. So I'm pretty sure the reason why you see 100% in for Vanderbilt and Florida, when even if they lost every game, I'm not sure if it's 100% guaranteed that they'd be in, is either because they make the tournament in all 10,000 simulations, or because they're rounding to the nearest 10th, and it's like 9, and it rounds up, but then Alabama 99.9. Like, I'm not sure why that's not rounded up. So with the math, I'm not 100% sure on why it's full 100% when it's mathematically technically not. But this is kind of the setup you're looking. Look at that in percentage. It's the third column in. That's what I reference here, the percentage of making it into the tournament. And you can kind of see there after, if you go down a little bit, after Texas at 50%, after LSU at 35, and after Missouri at 21, those three teams are all kind of in that outside looking in. Texas last team in, and then it drops off a cliff right there for the bottom four. So that's kind of like your analytical projection here so far on January 20th.
Yeah, and remember, we brought up yesterday, like the gap that still exists between Missouri and LSU in the net. They're 20 spots apart in the net, and like the bracketology had them right on top of each other. Um, and it's just like Missouri's non-conference schedule is hurting them, and obviously not winning these last two road games against Ole Miss and LSU. Yeah, like I think it's kind of one of those things. So it's trending much more towards 9 or 10 versus 8. I think at this point, like I think we're feeling better about that, and it's just the way the results have played out so far. You've got some of these teams that felt like they were done for, that have gained some momentum and given themselves a little bit more wiggle room should they lose a game or two. And then, like we said, you've also still got the teams like Texas, LSU, Missouri, even Auburn and A&M to a certain extent that feel like they've got a lot to do. Still to feel comfortable about getting in. And I think Vive brought this up, and I'm going to hit this one real quick. Like,
yep.
He says A&M has to be more comfortably in than Auburn right now. I don't think so. And the reason why I'm going to say like comfortably is because Auburn's strength of schedule is just incredible. And that's why I think Auburn's going to keep hanging around for a little bit. Now, remember, we mentioned their upcoming schedule. They have a brutal upcoming schedule. And so if you just keep losing that, but I think Auburn is the team. If you had to say right now, who's the SEC team that could have the worst record and have the best chance to get in, it would be Auburn. Because their non-conference schedule, overall strength of schedule per KenPom right now is 4th. So that is going to do a lot of work for them. And at the same time, you have to win games. And so if they lose a lot of games and they go 7-11 or something, it's going to be tough. But I think if they get to 8, I think they're going to be fine. So
two more quick things I want to point out with this is one, the data can change very fast. Texas had less than a 1% chance of making the tournament before the Alabama and Vanderbilt wins. Now they're up to 50. 1 week, this can change very quickly. So it's only just a reference point. But two things real quick. The highest chance we have at a number 1 seed, 15%. We're not getting a number 1 seed. Honestly, might not even get a 2 seed. 3 might be the best, the highest seed for the SEC here. You can see from Vanderbilt to Arkansas, there's 5 teams projected top 6 seeds. And then from Georgia to Missouri, they're all projected between a 7, 8, or 9, or 10. So that's what it's going to maybe we'll get 10 teams, but it'll be like 3 or 4 teams as top 5, and then the rest of the league in those 8, 9, 10 games. And the last thing, if you look on the very bottom of your screen, bid distribution, that's the percentage of chance the league gets that many bids in. So you can see number 9 in the middle there at 40%, far and away the highest percentage. But guys, the change here for the past 2 months, 8 bids has been number 2, the second highest percentage for a long time, where now that's flipped to 10, where now 10 teams has a 33% chance and 8 is only 16. So for the longest time, it's been a 9 bid league that is more likely to have 8 than 10 if it's not 9. And now it is flipped to, with Texas jumping in, it's flipped to a 9 bid league with more likely that it's one more at 10 rather than 8.
Yeah, I think that's it. So I just feel like the way things have started, it's trending in a better direction for more teams, but it could be you get the most teams in and you have 3 left by the second weekend. Just based on matchups and seeding. Like, that could be how it turns out. So, which is not terrible, but it's not, what we're used to from last year, of course. It's just a complete different situation. Yeah.
And
All
now
right.
you're going to see the spreads are going to come into play here. Like for an LSU team who's what? They were on the next four out.
Yeah.
And part of that group from 8 to 16. Look on the outside looking in, your analytical, the spread might be 15, right? But the analytical projection's only 11. If LSU goes out there and loses by 20, well, now you're out of the next four in, or next four out. You're out of that. But if you go to Florida and only lose by 5 and cover that, well, now you're probably in the next four in. Like, just it's going to go deeper than wins and losses at this point in the season now when you're trying to separate the bubble. You can't drop a complete goose egg here and really get hurt on the net rankings, drop 10 spots back. That could kill you just one game now. So pay attention to all that for these bubble teams.
Yeah, and that's what, like, I'm looking at the net. You've got Vanderbilt, Florida, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, Auburn, Texas, Texas A&M. Those are 10 teams, all in the top 42. So it's going to take Texas completely falling off, I think, to get them out of the picture, which at this point, I don't think that's going to happen based on how they're playing. So you feel pretty good about that group right there having a great chance to make it, even if, let's say, two of them are in the, two of the final 8 that are in the field or something. So then it's like, okay, if you're going to get that 11th one, you need to be rooting for those teams to kind of beat up on each other because it's going to help probably everyone in that scenario. And then you just need, honestly, you probably more than anything need like LSU, Missouri to beat teams like Alabama, Vanderbilt, Florida, because then while those teams are going to drop a little bit, it's pushing those teams further, like beating, again, like LSU beating Texas. Well, that becomes maybe one's in, one's out type scenario. So I don't know. You kind of have to be rooting for chaos here, but not just any chaos. Like you need to be rooting for like the ultimate chaos, which no one's going to because that would mean, well, LSU beating Florida. Florida fans are like, wait a second. Doesn't help us at all, but it does help the SEC get more teams because LSU probably catapults itself into the field. So, so that's kind of the dynamic we're working with.
It's almost like if the SEC wants to get another team or two in, it'll come at the sacrifice of a seed line or two at the top.
Yeah.
Because those teams that get in are going to have to beat those teams at the top, which will knock them back a seed line, but it'll get the league another team in. So it's like it's gonna be a mess of just like 3, 4, 3. They're gonna have like 2, 3 seeds, maybe Florida and Vanderbilt, maybe Alabama gets a 4, and then everybody else is gonna be between a 5 and a 10.
Yeah. It's going to be nuts. I know Sam's brought this up a couple times. He says the fact that they're counting Tennessee in is crazy. They'll be an underdog the next 2 road games, 2-5 in the SEC going into the January 31st. That's not a tournament resume. I'll just say with Tennessee, I've looked at their schedule. They have at least 6 more wins, maybe more than that on their schedule. They have a very nice home setup over the next month. Auburn, Ole Miss, LSU, Oklahoma. And so road game at Mississippi State. Their road games are tough. There's no question. But again, for me, Tennessee just needs to get to 8, and I think they'll be fine.
Interesting setup with the net rankings here. Arkansas's 24th, Tennessee's 26th, Georgia's 27th, Kentucky's 28th.
Yeah.
All of them are just right next to each other. 4 SEC teams between 24 and 28 in the net right now.
All right. Before we get to some quick thoughts on tonight's games, and remember, Super Chats, I think the streak may be broken right now. Uh-oh. 5-minute Super Chat warning. We are going to kind of abbreviate this show a little bit because we're going to go do our predictions for tomorrow night's games. Only 2 of them, so that will be a pretty short one for the MVPs and legends, Kentucky, Texas, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Collar, A-N-D, Collar.com. Performance menswear brand makes the polos, the button-ups, the quarter zips, the pants, you name it. Tell you what, not wearing any polos right now. It's cold in the garage. Winter storm coming this week. Max, it's going to look like New York City around here.
I got it.
Minus people who actually know how to navigate in the snow. Yes, that's what it's going to be like in this part of the South. But you may just be sitting around saying, hey, I'm stuck in the snow, got nowhere to go. I'm just going to sit around and wear my Ann Collar menswear everywhere I go. I may take a stroll outside on some snow or some ice, and I'm going to be suited up to do it. Or maybe you're going to say, you know what? Snow day. I'm going to embrace my father-in-law Paris, little quarter zip, throw some
Ooh.
pants on.
Ooh.
What a nice deal that would be.
Yep.
Because you got some stretchy clothes, you got some affordable clothes, and you got some clothes that are going to make you look good.
Yep.
The work leisure has been invented by our friends at Ann Collar. And remember, stain resistance, comfort, wrinkle resistant, machine washable, lightweight. They got a great price, and it's even better if you use our code SEC16 for 16% off over at AnnCollar.com. Fantastic stuff. Head over there, spill whatever you want on this stuff. It's coming out. SEC16 for 16% off over at Ann Collar, and our friends at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting, SEC25 for 25% off over at ROKFORM. All right. Everybody's weighing in on the snow. Sam saying we got 31 inches the last model run for Knoxville. I can't think of anything more miserable out there, Sam, than that. If that is the way it turns out, the snowpocalypse will be upon us in the state of Tennessee. But yes, we're gonna find out. So,
Blake, while you were doing those ad reads, I was being a nerd and looking through KenPom player comps for Kentucky players this year. Do you remember Des Wells about 10, 12 years ago on Maryland? He played 4 years there, or 3 years there. He was a bald guy. He played during
vaguely,
the Mellow Trimble days. It was Mellow Trimble and Des Wells. Otega Owe has a comp to him right now. I hadn't heard the name Des Wells in like 10 years.
We should do the random KenPom comp of the day. You know what? This will make Big Gator EJ happy. You ready for this one? I did not realize this is one of the comps, but I just looked at it. One of Sir Thomas Houck's player comps right now.
Look at these guys.
Actually, wow, he's got some fascinating ones.
Who's he got?
2016, Dorian Finney-Smith. How about that? What a player comp that is, huh? That'll make Big Gator EJ happy. Had no idea. Another player comp, Jeffrey Taylor from Vanderbilt, Kyle Singler from Duke, Chandler Parsons from 2011. Now, those are some comps right there. So, how about that?
Oh, Alex Condons are insane.
Oh, sorry, Florida's are. I'm going to find Rubens because I want to see Rubens too.
These are Alex Condon's top 4 comps right now. Jonathan Motley, Baylor. This is the best one. Adrian Payne, Michigan State. The legend, Adrian Payne. Kerry Blackshear. That was Florida for a season. And Dean Wade. I think he's on. He was on the Heat. I don't know where he is now, but he's in the NBA. Yeah. How about those comps for Kondo?
Here you go, Big Ruben. A 2014, a certain Florida Gator center named Patrick Young. Also, a Missouri center from several years ago, Jeremiah Tillman. And a Texas A&M center from last year, Farrell Payne. Yeah. So,
interesting.
How about that? And Terrace Reed from last year from UConn.
How about Keith Appling for Boogie Fland? Remember Appling? That was like 15 years ago, Michigan State.
Wow, that's it. Hold on a second. What's Florida right now to win the national title? I'm done. It's over.
Where's my
we
Gators?
did a gut bracket. We did a gut bracket today. You could put them against every 1 seed every round. I'm picking Florida every time. So plus 1,400. Get the odds now. They're only going up from here. Go grab them at FanDuel. Plus 1,400 for the Gators to win the whole thing. So.
Oh wait, right. Tamara just said A-Cuffs is Allen Iverson. Is that true?
Is that true? Well, listen. I don't know if KenPom goes back that far, but I would make that a comp if it's not already. So,
oh, darn it. Maybe it was at one point, but it's not anymore.
De'Aaron Fox is one of them. Now, I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A lot of NBA comps, though.
Interesting. All right. Quickly, you guys, thoughts on tonight's? Let's hear. Hold on. Big Gator EJ, $5 super chat. Streak alive. Speaking of collars, we talk about how coaches don't wear suits at the games anymore. Was it COVID? We started slacking off. That changed everything. I mean, it really did. Like that's where they, all of a sudden the dress, whatever. You're laughing at Sam. It's good gracious. Yeah, like I think. Listen, we can talk to our friends at Ann Collar. If they want to make the push to get coaches back in the suits, but you know what? They can also get coaches in the quarter zips too. I mean, you tell me you're a coach out there, 40-minute game. You don't want to have a little stretchy pants, a little stretchy attire. You got to get out in a defensive stance, Max Barr. You got to get down in the stance. You need some stretchy pants, huh?
Oh, there you go. That's a jingle right there.
Oh,
Sam, you may not like it because it's going to come from a Tar Heel, but if you just set bias aside, he was a pretty dang good basketball player. Jacoby Gillespie's second highest comp's Joel Berry, and he even has the same hair as Joel Berry. He's got the same kind of haircut. And they play very similar. I like that Joel Berry comp. Hey, he's a national champ. He'll take that.
Yeah. That's right. Dennis Gates wears a suit every night. Come on.
Yep.
Come on. All right. A couple other things here. Yeah, tonight, Florida, 15.5-point favorite, I think. Let me get the updated FanDuel numbers here on our way out.
I believe it's down to it was down to 14. I think it's up to 16.
Is it?
I think it's up to 16.5.
Yeah, it's 15.5 FanDuel, but it's about to hit 16.5 because you got the minus 118. So it's going to probably hit 16.5. Yeah, which is wild with Dean Thomas questionable. So, but Florida's that good right now.
They are.
I wouldn't be shocked. Oklahoma, 1.5-point favorite on the road against South Carolina. That one though looks like it's about to move back in South Carolina's favor. So don't be surprised if that one swaps a little bit. Meanwhile, Georgia, 1.5-point favorite at Missouri. That also, Missouri minus 124 on the plus 1.5. So that one's going to swing back to Missouri. And then you've got Vanderbilt and Arkansas. Arkansas 1.5. That one's going to stay there. I don't think that one's going to move unless we get some injury news. I think Arkansas is going to probably settle as a 1.5-point favorite.
I have tinkered back and forth with that Vanderbilt-Arkansas game like it's an 8-9 game and the bracket just came out. I cannot figure out who's going to win this game to save my life. And you know what I come back to every time? The end of my thought process every time in this game is, it's in Bud Walton. Hogs are going to win. Mm-hmm. That's what I come back to every time.
I mean, when in doubt, you just got to play the trend. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, if this game's at Vanderbilt, I'm picking Vanderbilt. If it's at Bud Walton, I'm picking the Hogs. And it's at Bud Walton, so I'm picking the Hogs. And they're also in the spot, man. The spot.
Yeah.
Trademark that. The spot. The Southeastern 16 spot of the day. Which one is it? You could pick multiple on this slate.
Good.
But I think it's Arkansas bouncing back after the Georgia loss, and Vanderbilt on a quick turnaround after just playing Florida has got to go play Arkansas.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Alan says, are we calling any upsets? I think the only upset we called on, we were split on some, but I think we both, if you want to call it an upset, they're +1 at South Carolina. Didn't we both pick South Carolina to win at home against Oklahoma?
Okay, we did. And here's another one. I forgot to mention this a second ago. We both picked South Carolina. Did we both pick Missouri?
I think I picked Georgia.
Oh, okay. I picked Missouri, so I had an upset technically there. And then I forgot about this one, but Auburn's minus 2.5 at FanDuel, and it looks like that's about to jump up to 3.5. At Ole Miss. We both picked Ole Miss in that game. So we got some upsets.
Interesting.
If you want to call it that. It's not really
interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that one a little bit.
This is going to be a fascinating night. I'm honestly starting to think that we might see some blowouts.
Right. Some of these are just It's
because
not.
all of them are so razor tight, and
Yeah.
you think about them for the past 48 hours nonstop, and then
Yeah.
one team just comes out and they're 4 of 6 from 3 at the under 16, and it's one of these games is not going to be close.
Daddy's going to go 2 of 28 from 3. Arkansas is going to win by 30. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see something like that in one of these games, I feel like. Maybe Florida. Maybe Florida just goes out and just says, all right, we're done here.
I forgot to.
Just quickly, from how you doing? Said Ole Miss needs, 9 more SEC wins? So I think that is kind of an interesting discussion on what does Ole Miss need to get to. Right now in the net, Ole Miss is at 79. Their profile, they've got 1 quad 1 win, 2 quad 2 wins, but 8 of their 11 have come in quad 3 and quad 4. I think for Ole Miss, if I'm looking at it here, I think they've got to get to 9-9. I don't think there's any way around it. I think 8-10 is probably a lot to ask. I say that though, I don't. And what does Ken Palm have? I think sometimes Ken Palm's strength of schedule number is kind of weird. The conference strength of schedule, he's got Ole Miss at 15. I'm looking at their remaining schedule. I think they've got one of the toughest schedules left of anybody. So I don't know. I mean, they've got road games at Kentucky, at Tennessee, at Texas A&M, at Auburn, at Vanderbilt. Yikes. And they've also got home games still against Alabama, Florida, Vanderbilt. Like, they've got to have one of the toughest schedules left.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to sit here and go ahead.
I don't know. No, I think 9-9 you're going to feel good. I don't think 8-10 is that unrealistic. Maybe either for Ole Miss based on the strength of their schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle.
So that
is there anything to the angle for LSU? I'm trying to find because the line's moving out 16.5 now for the Gators going to be. So I'm trying to find ways that LSU can cover that. Is there anything to the angle of Missouri plays kind of similarly to Florida, where they play through their bigs? Their guards minus Jaden Stone aren't asked to do too much offensively, like with Ant Robinson and T.O. Barrett. You can kind of sag off them. And they run through Mark Mitchell, Trent Pierce, anything. Is there anything to LSU like kind of having a similar team to prepare for it because it's a Saturday to Tuesday game? Not too much of a different play style as if you're going from like a South Carolina to a Texas A&M or a Georgia to a South Carolina or something like that, where the tempo is way different. Is there anything to that angle for LSU where similar play styles back to back may help them on the short turnaround, or is this 16.5 just telling us Gators by a million?
I wouldn't touch the 16.5, but okay. I also think Florida has been such at another level that if they win this game by 30, I wouldn't be shocked.
Because that thing going from 15.5 out to 16.5 has got my little max radar going, Gators by a million. I'm trying to keep myself at bay here.
Listen, you can say two things at the same time, okay? We can admit that LSU has been right there in every SEC game it's played, and that has included games against Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Missouri, A&M. But we can also admit that Florida is an absolute machine right now.
Yeah.
And so LSU can play really good here and still get beat by 15 or more.
That is true.
That's just how good Florida is.
That is true.
So I don't want to take anything away from LSU, but I think it's a tough matchup for them.
Hey, Happy Face Coffee.
A little Happy Face Coffee on a Tuesday morning.
Cheers.
Happy to the Howdies. $2 super chat says Auburn doesn't lose another game. Well, listen, if Auburn doesn't lose another game, Auburn's going to wind up as a 4 seed, because their strength of schedule is pretty good. So we'll see.
Got a tight one on.
I would bet against that. I like to be optimistic, but I would probably bet against them winning every game the rest of the way.
Got a tight one tonight. What are they doing? Putting Tigers Rebels on the U. Well, that's because the Commodores Hogs are on.
Well, they ain't
the
got
main
enough
one.
networks at this point to cover this SEC slate tonight.
Missouri's on SEC Network. Too many games on the same time.
A little good luck here. Damn it, all the teams tonight.
Hey,
So,
thank you.
good luck to everyone out there. All right,
We'll be back tonight, right? Or Wednesday morning.
So I think our plan is to come back tomorrow morning, and the reason why is because
they're all late.
Yeah, like your top games are all late, right? You've got the trio at 8 p.m. Central. Now, let's be honest. If this was, 10 years ago, most of those games are done in 2 hours. But I think we're going to have at least a couple games here that go 2.5. So because of that, we won't have as big of a crowd tonight. So we're going to wait till tomorrow morning. We'll have more people jumping into the chat. So, yeah, that's how it's gonna go. So.
Chris, $5 super chat from Chris. One of my best buddies is an LSU fan, born and raised in Baton Rouge. I have been spamming him with Gator stuff all morning. It's a Tuesday in the SEC. You better know what's coming, Chris. You better know what's coming.
Yeah. Well. So I will say this: if LSU beats Florida, Big Gator, EJ, and Chris are hoping we don't do a show tonight, because the only reason we're doing a show tonight probably is if LSU beats Florida. So if that happens, we're probably going to do something after that first round of games. But if that doesn't happen, my guess is we're probably going to clean all this up tomorrow morning, because there's a lot to keep an eye on tonight with this many games. We may have the whatever box going, but we're probably going to have to go back and get a little bit more detail on a few of these games just based on how many are going on at once. So, so that's it. All right. That's our plan. We're about to head over for members, and I think it was, let's see, where was it? Miles asked, are we doing the Wednesday predictions today? We're about to head over there right now if you want to join us live, remember, you have that option to sit in live now on our predictions. To do that, you have to be an MVP or a legend here at Southeastern 16. I'm going to put the link in the description below, as always. Jump on in, be a member or legend. You can sit in on our predictions live. We will do those for the 2 games for Wednesday night. Shout out to Miles, too, as well. Nice words. Watch him for about 3 years now. Love the work. Well, we appreciate that. Appreciate you jumping in on the live show. And Sam's asking. We
got Miles there. Miles, little running back there, wide receiver, tight end.
Miles looks like he's headed for maybe the next draft pick of the New England Patriots.
Don't.
For the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Let's just go ahead and call it right now. The Patriots are going to win the whole thing.
I'm just letting you know, Broncos money line will be placed by Max Barr. There's no way they win that game. Tight end. There we go.
Tight end. Okay. All
nice.
Right.
Little crack block on the pitch play.
Miles just said, you know what? I'm the next Hunter Henry for the New England Patriots. Little Drake May to Miles connection. Touchdown. Mike Vrabel probably still pissed off, but it's a touchdown for the New England Patriots. The man coaches till the end. Miles is now a member. He's going to jump into the predictions here in just a second.
Who's the Indiana back shoulder guy last night that was just torching Miami? Like number 80.
I don't know
his name.
By the way, Jeff says can't wait to retire soon so I can catch more Southeastern 16 live. Well, Jeff, the best way to get yourself into retirement is by betting responsibly at FanDuel and just picking against us at every turn. And I think lots of people could retire using that methodology. But no, just kidding. Enjoy the retirement, Jeff. Come on anytime you want. Hopefully you can watch every day. So, all right.
All right.
I think that's it. Oh, by the way, Big Gator EJ made a good point earlier. You can use ChatGPT to apply the current rules to the current standings to determine the seeds for the SEC tournament. So we could do that when we do our SEC tournament gut bracket coming up soon. So
yeah, AI will definitely get all of it right and won't make a mistake.
Yeah, I'm sure. Florida will be the 8th seed.
Sam's asking about Blake Barr this week.
Ain't gonna be today, but it'll be sometime this week. Yes, it will not be today, but I think our current plan is to do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I
Because
think. Yeah.
Wednesdays are usually kind of we'll do our reaction in the morning, but then we don't have predictions to do like we usually do the first 2 days of the week. So that's my guess, Sam. Blake Barr comes back tomorrow.
Yep.
We're 4-0 right now. And yeah, we'll get into our Kentucky Wildcats off to a great start. I think we play UConn at MSG is our next game. So big game coming up for the Cats.
Big game. Yep.
I couldn't remember a single player's name on our team right now, but I'm sure they're fantastic. Do you remember anybody's name? Because I don't.
Cleveland.
Cleveland? Is that right? What was that guy that I can't stand? He stinks, but we'll get to that tomorrow. Petty John.
You got Hackstat? Big man?
Hackstat. Okay, it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
All right. We're out of here. Heading over to predictions. Jump on over there. 2 games to predict. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe button on your way out. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.